Welcome to ESPN Esports. We are live on Twitch, and this is a new segment here on ESPN Esports. It is called Coach's Corner. This is where we do a deep dive into the coaching staff, particularly of the Call of Duty League. And I couldn't think of a better place to start than somebody who is coaching a team that is surging right now, that is doing very well in the Call of Duty League. And many people point to the Minnesota RØKKR as the team to watch moving forward, even as we move to a possible online format. We have Saintt joining us, head coach, the Minnesota RØKKR general manager as well. Brian, thanks for joining us.
Really glad to be here, man, especially during the first episode.
Yeah, this is the inaugural episode, and you are our first guest. You will always have that, Brian. You will always be the first guest of Coach's Corner on
We'll never be the
ESPN
second.
Esports. That's right, exactly. By the way, we will be monitoring Twitch chat. I'm actually going to refresh my browser here so that I can pull up Twitch chat. Anybody have any questions as we go along here? Feel free to ask them in the chat. I want to make this as collaborative as possible. But first of all, let's obviously start with how you're doing, how the team is doing. We're in extraordinary times. Everybody safe? Everybody healthy?
Yeah, no, everyone's really good. I mean, we only have a few people here in Minnesota right now. A lot of people were going home after LA regardless to spend some time with family, so all of them are still staying there at home, until things clear up a little bit.
And where are you right now?
I'm in Minnesota right now,
Okay.
as well as Assault and Alex.
So the team is I guess it's good to hear that everybody's safe. Obviously, we got to keep safe and healthy, and of course, wash your hands for
hmm
people watching this. What does that mean for as we go to a possible online format? So how would that work logistically for you and the team if we get an announcement of a schedule coming soon that there will be games played online? What will that look like?
Yeah, I mean, right now everyone at home is upgrading their internet in case they end up being stuck there. Ideally, we want to have everyone back at our facility once we kind of have a date on when the matches are going to start.
Is there? We haven't heard anything publicly. I don't know how much you can possibly share. Have you heard a timeline or anything from the league at all regarding what might come?
Um, I expect things to start up sometime soon. I'm not too sure on the date. I'd expect in April though.
Okay, fair enough. So it could quite
Mhm.
possibly be coming very soon. What do you think of the change? I mean, I find it interesting. I just saw an article before we went live in League of Legends. The majority of the LCS Players Association actually voted to cancel their spring split entirely instead of moving to an online format, but they are moving on as planned. What is your and the team's opinion of a possible online format for this league? How do you feel about it?
I mean, we're just glad we're able to play. It's the first season for us, and with every other sport in pretty much the industry right now, they're not able to play at all. So esports is pretty much all there is out there. So just being able to play online, keep our season going, and bring in a lot of new viewership is what we're looking forward to the most.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good thing, especially for esports and gaming, right? The fact that we can continue online
Yeah,
and
you can absolutely grow the scene right now when all traditional sports is pretty much on a indefinite hiatus.
so what has it been like since we've really, social distancing, quarantining, now your team is in different locations, the league goes on hiatus. Does that change the schedule, practice schedule at all? Have you guys been on the same trajectory assuming that games will come? Like what does that look like for say like I don't know, the past few several weeks?
Our practice schedule is pretty much consistent to how it's always been. We're taking a few more off days though throughout the weeks, because in the past with traveling and everything, we'd kind of have off days from when we traveled, when we land at the event, et cetera, et cetera. So now we're throwing in scheduled off days at least once a week to kind of keep us mentally refreshed.
I know that a lot. I'm working on a piece for ESPN Esports on the rookies of Call of Duty League. So I talked to Tiny, one of the substitutes, of course, for the Minnesota RØKKR, and he says that in their off time, the RØKKR teammates are enjoying playing a lot of Warzone. I know a lot of people are playing Warzone.
Yeah,
You
quite a
as
few of
well.
us right
Yeah,
now.
you as well. How's the team? Is the team really good? How do the squads of three shake down?
Uh, I don't think Alex and God X have even played Warzone yet. Asim's played a bit with like some of the subliners guys, and when I play, it's usually with like Assault and Silly. We've kind of been trioing a little bit, not so much the past day or two though.
I feel like God RX would be ridiculous
I
at
feel like he would
Warzone.
be insane. Yeah, he hasn't tried it yet though. I don't know why.
He could be the guy that just like finds a perch and just gets like 28 kills from like You know what I
Just
mean?
sniping. Yeah.
Yeah, he just and he'd be the guy that like snipes people when they're dropping from the plane.
Yeah,
he
he,
just
he
like
like he
picks
likes
them
playing
off.
pub matches too, so I don't know why he hasn't picked up ground war yet or even like tried it. I expect him to play sometime this week though.
So, talk to me about like as a coach, talk to me about the shift from LAN to online. So, like scrims will basically be a realistic practice at this point as the league goes online. But are there any adjustments that you make? Is there anything that you factor in now that the league is going to go online? Like, take me through your planning now as a coach and what that looks like.
I don't really think we can make too many adjustments in terms of altering our play style. We got to keep doing what's been working for us and keep going on the same path. Where if we see, something that was like a flaw in our map pool, a flaw on one of our hills, a flaw in one of our rotations, we just progressively work on improving one thing at a time.
It's been a gradual progression for the Rocker in Atlanta, making it to the semifinals, taking Atlanta to 5 games. They hadn't bled before then. Really, they'd been demolishing opponents, so you really showed some promise there. And then defeating Atlanta in Los Angeles, making it all the way to the finals, pushing Dallas to a game 5 there as well. Like, how proud are you of of your team's progress so far this season?
I mean, I can't even express how proud I am of all five of these guys. Ever since the start of the season, the amount of work they put in and how open they've been to receiving criticism is bar none. I think that's what makes us such a good team. I'm so happy to be working with these five guys and my assistant coach Jake as well.
What did you take away from the Atlanta series in Atlanta? It was a reverse sweep, losing Dom and Hackney Yard, and then 2 gunrunner maps, losing on Hardpoint and Search and Destroy. Like, what did you take back from that series that you were able to, that the team was able to apply in going into the Los Angeles series? Even if you weren't going to face Atlanta, like what were some of the takeaways that you took that you were able to apply in that series?
With that series, even though we lost, it really hurt at the time. But looking back at it, after the match sunk in a little bit, it kind of let us know that we're capable of doing this. I think that kind of showed that we're, up there as a top four team in the world right now, and we can win these tournaments and these championships. So I think everyone felt good in that regard, and it kind of helped us learn our map pool against FaZe a little bit leading up to the LA matchup.
How do you when you leave a tournament and you're putting together what you will be scrimming on with your team? How do you analyze all of that? How do you take all the information available to you and say, okay, this is what we need to work on? Like, what are some of the factors that are really important to you?
Yeah, basically after a tournament, I mean, we'll see what maps we've, been very good on. Hackney has been one of them for us. If we're really good at a map, we'll kind of just keep playing it and, just keep perfecting the things that we're good at. But after a tournament, with the maps you don't play and the maps you lose, you kind of see the ones you have to work on and improve on, and those are generally the ones that we want to, come out and make the most strides on. A lot of teams, when they're not good at a map, they'll kind of push to the side and ignore it. We want to make sure all the maps in our pool are really good, and if we have a really strong map pool, it's going to help us out versus every team.